Time now for Morning Rounds, our look at the medical news of the week, and we begin with more on what's been a widespread and deadly flu season.
According to statistics released yesterday from the Centers for Disease Control, 49 states are reporting widespread influenza activity. Only Hawaii was excluded. With 37 related pediatric deaths, nearly 42 people per 100,000 have been hospitalized. Here to discuss this and more is CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. I'm moving to Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly, for many reasons. The flu shot, is it too late? Should people get it?
No. When you get a flu shot, it takes about 2 weeks to build immunity to the flu. Get it, get it, get it. Even if it doesn't hit the strain that's around, you're going to get less severity to the flu. So get that flu shot if you haven't.
It's older people and children are usually the most susceptible, as we know, but it's surprising to see that baby boomers have been especially hard hit by this. David, why?
Yeah, I mean, this year it's a little bit different. There certainly is a bigger incidence in the baby boomers. Baby boomers are the ones who are out there working every day, and many of them have less vaccination rates. They're not getting the flu shots as others are. In addition, there's a particular strain this year that when you're a child and what strains you're exposed to, you may have less immunity to this strain. It's not clear exactly why, but it's a real trend. Everybody needs to get that flu shot. I can't say it enough.
All right, we have our marching orders.
We transition to our next topic, health issues on a global scale. The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland just wrapped up. Experts and world leaders discussed a variety of issues, including health and medicine.
Dr. Agus was one of the famous attendees and can tell us about some of the health-related matters discussed in Davos. Okay, so one of the sort of big topic issues at Davos is value. How does that intersect with health?
Well, it's a big movement now on health. It's value. It's what you get for what you pay. And whether it be a drug, whether it be a procedure, if it works, you should pay more than if it doesn't work. And so developing a system where we incentivize people for value rather than incentivize people to do procedures. Right now, you get sick, the doc gets paid for doing something. The future it's going to be, it's based on the outcome. And I think that's an important move. The key in Davos that we all talked about was how do we define value?
One of the issues addressed in the forum's global risk report was inequality, especially when it comes to things like human enhancement drugs and bioengineering. To quote a section of that write-up, if the price tag is significant and the benefits are strong, the result would be even deeper and more entrenched inequality.
No question. You know, we're all talking about electronic autonomous cars, but there may be burning cars one day if we don't address this issue. Yeah. We can cure diseases like hepatitis C. We're going to have drugs in the near future that may make you smarter, stronger, and if only the rich can afford them, it's going to increase this divide that we have now. We have to figure out a way to make, equity in terms of dealing with healthcare with the progress that's happening. It's a major issue today. It's going to be more of a major issue tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a dystopian future right there.
No question about it.
Speaking of which, antibiotic resistance is another issue that was talked about. What can you tell us about the latest on that?
You know, we see in this flu season, right, we have antivirals. So in the first 48 hours, you take one of these, the severity goes way down. We're seeing some resistance this year, but there's going to be more. And as we take more and more antivirals, antibiotics, drug resistance is a major problem. So we have to figure out ways to use them appropriately and then incentivize research to make new drugs. If you have a drug that works in people who are resistant, the problem is we save it till the end. So what company wants to make a drug where only a few people will use it? We have to change the system there.
David, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the healthcare discussions in Davos? You know,
in general, there's optimism. There's optimism that, vaccines are working in Africa. There's optimism that we have new treatments for cancer and Alzheimer's. One of the big discussions that, we sat on a stage and talked about is healthcare a right? And, I think that what came down at the end is it is a right, but it's also a responsibility. And I think defining both of those is going to be critical as we move forward. So it was a privilege to be there, but the discussions really hopefully push the march forward.
Do you think that the discussions translate into action in the long term, medium term, short term?
No question about it. I mean, the power of Davos is who's in the room. As you have health ministers, heads of pharmaceutical companies. So when you say something in the hallways afterwards, you talk about it and action happens. It's an amazing place in that regard.
And not a bad alpine setting either.
Not a bad alpine setting, no question about it. It snowed a lot this year.
A little cold and remote.
Lucky you.
Dr. David Agus, thanks for being with us.